Welcome back, guys. If you are just joining us, this is INX Prime Live. Remember, we are on your screens every single Monday to Friday between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Now, Awqaf SA has made significant strides in supporting vulnerable communities through their various initiatives. Now, we do know as part of the Islamic festival of Eid al-Adha, Awqaf SA, in partnership with Diyanet, the religious body of Turkey, has successfully completed a 3-day Qurbani campaign. Now, this campaign has resulted in the distribution of up to about 120 tons of meat, benefiting nearly over 200,000 people across Cape Town, the Northern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Johannesburg, Namibia, as well as Mozambique. Now, to tell us more about this impactful initiative, we are joined by Awqaf SA CEO, Mickaeel Collier. He joins me right now. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us here at INX Prime, Mickaeel.
Alaikum salam. Thank you for having us. As you can see, we are still on the distribution, so excuse the fact that, the video quality may not be perfect.
No, it's fine. You guys are doing amazing work, and we really do appreciate the work that you do. But let's just start off right there. Could you start by giving us an overview of this year's Qurbani campaign and also its significance as well?
So, alhamdulillah, Awqaf South Africa is a community endowment fund. As you've mentioned, we support a host of community development projects in economics, in healthcare, in education. And as part of our social cohesion project, we've teamed up once again for the 12th year with the Diyanet, which is the religious authority of the Republic of Türkiye. And this year we did Qurbani in close to 60 odd centers across South Africa and Southern Africa. We've partnered with them to do Qurbani in Mozambique, in Namibia, in Cape Town, and then we partnered also with a few other institutions across South Africa, like the Imam Development Program and many others, Mercy Mission, etc., to do Qurbani in rural areas across South Africa.
No, that's brilliant. And I mean, just touching on exactly what you mentioned in this answer, finding the right partners and finding strategic partnerships that speak to the goals and visions and values that you guys believe in is of paramount importance. Let's just touch on the partnership with Diyanet as well, Turkey's top religious body. How did that actually come about, and what has been the impact of this collaboration?
So Awqaf South Africa has worked with Diyanet for many years through various projects that we do with them, both locally and internationally. Awqaf South Africa operates in South Africa, and we also have an international presence. And as part of that, it's a natural extension of our partnership that we've joined with Diyanet for many years in, this particular project of Qurbani. I think the significance for this year is that we've escalated the type and the reach of the Qurbani. I've just received the stats a little bit earlier today. We've slaughtered about 600 cattle across the region. That totals close to about 120 tons of meat, reaching close to 200,000 people. So it's part of our giving back, as part of our Share the Care campaign. It's part of building brotherhood and fraternal connections between our communities across the length and breadth of this country and in the region. And it's also a way of dawah, because what we're doing is we're explaining to the community, the Muslim, non-Muslim community, that we are actually reenacting the deeds of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Prophet Abraham, as many would know, in his total and absolute submission to the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he was instructed to slaughter his son or to sacrifice his son. And it was, as we know the story, it was replaced by a ram, and that's why we continue doing that. But this entire period of Hajj, of Qurbani, of the sacrifice, it's a reenactment of those great prophets and his wife, Sayyidina Hajar, who was, by the way, a black African lady. And all over the world, people go perform the Hajj, reenacting their submission and their sacrifice. And I think for us, it's also an opportune time for us to ponder, to reflect, and to see what are those issues that we have within our own faults, within our own characters, within our own personalities, and those things that we need to sacrifice in order for the greater good of ourselves and of the community. And I think this way of sharing, we call it the Share the Care campaign, the Share the Care Qurbani campaign, because we're really sharing with the most vulnerable of our communities. Many of the communities, and I see the pictures that you're showing on your screen, our communities are so underprivileged and deprived that many people tell us that it is only once a year that they get to eat meat. And it is through this benevolence, this brotherly, this fraternal connections of sharing the care, of connecting with people, that we in actual fact are able to impact society and hopefully transform it for the better in the future, inshallah.
Yeah, again, thank you so much for the type of work that you do. I just want to zoom in a little bit more on the actual project itself, and just organizing and executing such a huge, large-scale operation. I mean, that has to be challenging, and like you did mention, and you did speak about the 600 animals and about 120 tons of meat. Could you walk us through the logistics involved in doing exactly that?
So, sure, it is a mammoth task to arrange close to 600 cattle, and then to arrange the facilities to slaughter it at. And then obviously the distribution is another arm of this entire operation. Um, Alhamdulillah, firstly, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the energies and the strength to do that. But secondly, also the team that is behind it. We've got team members who are currently in Mozambique. The teams from Namibia have just concluded their operations and arrived back home. And we've got about close to 100 volunteers and workers tirelessly working over the next few days in order to ensure that the meat is distributed. But we are particular about the way in which we discharge of this Qurbani, because it is an act of ibadah, it is an act of sacrifice, it is something that we are doing in submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore the way in which we do it and the etiquette that we discharge of this Qurbani is of vital importance. Added to that, when we are handing out the food, the meat parcels to the beneficiaries, we insist that it has to be done with the utmost of dignity, the utmost of respect and humility, because we in actual fact are discharging, as I mentioned, something that is an act of ibadah. It is a cold chain process. We need to ensure that the meat is of a high quality, and therefore we have vets that are checking the animals prior to being slaughtered. We have got vets checking the dead carcasses after they've been slaughtered, and ensuring that the quality and the standards of the animal is of the highest quality that can be consumed by our community members. So it's an entire process and system that takes quite a few months to put together. And as I mentioned, people will work over the next 3 to 4 days tirelessly around the clock to ensure that the meat is distributed in the correct way, in a most dignified way, and to reaching the most vulnerable of people.
No, without a doubt. I just want to touch on, and I know you mentioned, all of the quality control as well as making sure that the community is well looked after, and that's something that's so important. But I just want to touch on, the criteria that you guys use when it comes to identifying these individuals. How do you identify, or how do you find the people that are most vulnerable in terms of providing them with this distribution?
So I think that it's a known fact, South Africa and the region has a tale of two cities, right? We've got the opulence of a first world country in your Sandtons, in your Cape Town CBD areas, and just within a 5-kilometer radius, you've got people who live in abject poverty in worse than third world conditions. And I think that is the reality that we experience in South Africa and also across the Southern African region. And we work with institutions, we work with community leaders, and we work with identified organizations active in their in ensuring that the databases are correct, that we don't have duplication, and that people are in actual fact, uh, you know, the meat actually reaches the most needy during this particular time.
No, definitely, without a doubt. Look, Mickaeel, before we do let you go, and I think that you guys have done an incredible job and you'll keep on doing it. I mean, you guys have so many of these amazing programs, as well as the Imam Development Program and so much more. I just wanted to know, in terms of getting more people involved, before we do let you go, how can we get our audience, because a lot of them would be asking on they want to obviously get involved, they want to volunteer. How can people go about being part of the Awqaf family in South Africa?
So Awqaf is a broad-based home. It's a home for everybody. We welcome people to join us, to support us, and we call them the Awqaf ambassadors. So young and old, members from across the length and breadth of South Africa encouraged to join us. The easiest way is to visit our website and to click on the volunteer form that is located on our website, which is Awqaf SA, awqafsa.org.za. Drop us an email. All our contact details are on there, and we'll be able to match you to one of the many projects that we are currently involved with.
That's amazing, Mickaeel. Thank you again for joining us tonight on INX Prime Live.
Jazakallah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, guys. That is Mickaeel, who is the CEO of Awqaf SA, just sharing with us some of the work that they're currently doing. I mean, they're on a 3-day Qurbani run, a project in that sense, where they are actually distributing over 120 tons of meat out to various different provinces and countries as well, the likes of Mozambique and Namibia, purely on the purpose of impact and influence, to be able to positively impact the lives of people out there. Now, on that note, we are going to take a quick ad break. We'll come right back.